So first of all, I'd like to say welcome to everybody for joining us today at this AMA with ARK Finance. My name is Mist, and I am your host for today. The place that we are at is the Crypto Hideout, and if my name is Mist, that's where you are. So those of you that have been here before, welcome back to the Crypto Hideout, and those of you that are new here, please hope you enjoy yourself here and have a great time with us here at the Crypto Hideout. This is a place where we do lots of AMAs with different promising projects. We've done hundreds of AMAs at this point, and we've talked to many very interesting and quite promising projects. Besides that, we do a lot of chat in our group where you can just talk about crypto in general, whether that's trading. We do some technical analysis. We do a lot of DeFi projects that we look into, and price predictions and all sort of stuff like that. So if you're interested in just learning about crypto or chatting about crypto, it's also a great place to be. We also have lots of fun and jokes and laughs along the way, so we try to have a good time here. Besides that, we also have lots of giveaways, whether that's for NFTs or cash giveaways, token airdrops, whitelist spots, private sale spots, all sorts of stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, please do stick around with us and invite some friends as well. It's always a nice place to be. So today we're here with quite a very interesting project, in my opinion. This one is called ARK Finance, and we're here with the team. We have a couple of people here from the team, Brett and also Atlas, and they're going to be speaking to us today about the project that they've been working on. I understand that it's been building for quite some time. So I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you guys here, Atlas and Brett. Thank you so much for coming by and joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation, Miss. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you.
Absolutely. So I'll just do a quick mic check as well. I'm assuming everybody can hear me fine. Is it all loud and clear for you guys?
We hear you great.
Fantastic. All right, so why don't we start off here with a little bit of an introduction from you guys. Maybe you can tell us a bit about yourselves, your background, your experience in crypto, your experience in the real world, and sort of what you've been doing. Have you been involved with any other past projects or other crypto ventures?
Okay, perfect. I am Atlas. I am the original founder of ArkFi, and this is a project that we've been working on since February. I was a consultant on a project about, I think we're going a little over a year and a half ago. The name of that was called Wraith, and it was a privacy crypto wallet, a Web3 wallet with a mixer. And yeah, that was my first kind of delve into this, and got some experience on that team. And then after that, we really wanted to come here and work on ARK, understanding the great opportunities that we've seen from projects like Drip and Elephant Money, and really, trying to take that and even it out. We're going to go into that in much detail, but my background really comes from finance. I worked for banks, pretty much in a structured trade finance desk with paper commodities as well as physical. And, after leaving the banking, I went really into the sectors of renewable energy for over a decade, and also, carbon credit projects, mainly working with deforestation of rainforest in Africa, as well as in the Amazon rainforest, South America, as well as doing multi-megawatt projects, primarily with solar. We did some wind in Europe, but most of the decade was really developing those type of projects. And I got into crypto myself as a trader, coming from the traditional, financial markets to, pick up some of the volatility that you could find here. Going back around, 6.5 years ago, that's when, I first started getting to this. And with trading, also realizing that, wanting to have some passive income in crypto as the volatility, can be very, very strong, can get the best of you sometimes. And, that's how we really came here together. So that's kind of it for me, my introduction. I'll let Mr. Brett Norden go ahead and introduce himself.
Thanks, Atlas. Yeah, we both kind of come from similar backgrounds. I was always a business builder. Started out my career as an engineer, and then got into more startup projects and did a lot of business development internationally. Always had, venture capitalist spin, intellectual property development, new product commercialization, those kind of things, a lot in the technology space. And I started in crypto about 4 years ago on the trading side, looking for a way to create that passive income. And as Atlas mentioned, it's a rough road. It can be a rough road. Not everything works out with technical analysis the way you want it to, or else, that would be 100% batting average would be amazing, or success rate. And so I started looking around in crypto, love blockchain technology, and got deep into a lot of rabbit holes there. But then I found DeFi, and I really fell in love with the concept of passive income plays, and got into the yield space. Started out with Drip a little over a year ago. People are familiar with that protocol. And then met Atlas and the team and people that he was working with on another project, which eventually spun into ArkFi. And so, yeah, we all met at the right time and brought our different talents and abilities to this project. And I've been really focused mostly on the architecture of protocol and the different systems and functions at a high level. And then analyzing the other projects that have come before it, starting with Bankroll Flow, then a progression to Drip, and then some other projects more recent like Piston and Furio and some things that have had some troubles lately. And we've learned from experiences and rolled those all into the learnings and things that we could do to optimize and create a more sustainable platform that we think we've done here with ArkFi.
All right. Awesome, guys. Thank you for sharing that with us and sharing a bit about yourselves and the background that you guys have. Very interesting stuff, actually. And you mentioned a few projects that I've also been already invested in myself, such as Elephant Money and Drip, and I bought both of those, and I still hold some of them. And so I see that you guys have obviously been in the space and sort of done research around other projects that are similar or that have offered passive ROIs and things like that. And it looks like, I suppose what you're trying to do here is to take the negative aspects of any of those projects and improve them and try to make something that's better, right? Or that works, fixes any of the previous issues that they've had. So we're going to find out a bit more about that. Maybe you guys can tell us like an introduction of ARK itself in your own words. What exactly is your aim here? What is your goals? What is the mission you're going for? And what are you trying to achieve with the project?
All right, I'll start it off and then turn it over to Brad to get more details as to how everything's really come. But look, the intention here since February has been to really put together a fantastic team that is able to really see what's been successful and what at the same time has turned out to be not favorable, an exploit. And we've been able to create some mechanisms and create a project that we believe is really built for the bear market. As we see around the world, there's inflation issues, energy costs have gone through the roof, food, cost of living. Folks are understanding that the fiat in their bank accounts is really getting relatively zero to just a very, very small amount of yield in their traditional banks. And at the same time, it's decaying. It is devaluing and cannibalizing pretty quickly. And folks are looking for a passive income. We see that in the real world. And we also see that happening in DeFi as, folks are understanding that those days of the 100x, 50x in a couple of hours, those days are gone. Most of us here have been through that. And maybe a year ago, people would not have been interested in our approach and what we're proposing to investors. The opportunity here, it's a multi-year strategy. It's very long-term with sustainability and safety as the, core values, as well as making, DeFi pretty simple. But our main aim is to cross on over the bridge. I think that DeFi is a very small pond compared to all of the folks in the real world that could really benefit from having, a small amount, 1-2% of their actual, cash reserves into a project like this, understanding that nothing is guaranteed in DeFi, but offering an opportunity to get their return on investments very quickly. And I'm going to let Brett, come and tell you really, the top down view of how this all works, why it's different. But our aim is to really cross on over. We're building a really, really robust mobile application where you'll be able to sit down with a friend. You're at a barbecue, or you're having a coffee, or maybe you're at a bar and you're talking about, the great success you're having here as an investor. And you're able to talk to them. If they are interested, they can download our mobile app. You can show your QR code from your mobile app. They could get a credit card out, purchase their ArkFi tokens, and be under you through the referral system and start earning pretty much immediately. That's our prime directive, to really cross on over. There's a lot of countries that have already been through a massive inflation. For example, Venezuela has over 1,000,000% inflation. If you would have had $1 million, let's say 7 years ago, of that, Bolivar currency, you'd probably have around $10, value right now. So we believe that, a lot of currencies are heading in that direction. And we also understand that, we're able to control here our smart contracts, our price, and, focus on what we can really provide, which is a steady rate of return for those investors, as well as understanding that we can't control what Bitcoin is doing or Ethereum is doing, or, which banks are having issues around the world, which central banks are liquid or not liquid. I personally think it's an everything bubble, and we're all affected by it. And ARK was built as a safe passage to keep us, out of that crypto abyss, and just get us through these hard times. Some folks are talking about a crypto winter. I think we've built ARK as a vessel that has a icebreaker hull, right, to get us through until things turn around. So with that, I'll let Brett come in and give us more details of what's been done here.
That was great, Atlas. Thank you. The biggest thing that we looked at, trying to create something that had a fair playing field, and Atlas touched on that, was not only creating access through our mobile app to a more, mass market appeal, but then also creating a fair playing field so that new people that were coming in, wouldn't be taken advantage of. We've seen a lot in other projects where, the project launches and there's a lot of tokens that are given out, or people that are insiders are able to buy at a favorable price. And then those are held in wallets. And somewhere down the line, once the price pumps and we see a big hockey stick movement in the price, those people are able to dump. And so all these, you can call them whales or insiders or whoever, but they're able to dump on all of the small investors that are coming in afterwards. And that's just created, I think, a really bad situation and sentiment in the marketplace for these type of applications. And we set up, goalposts and parameters that just don't allow that to happen. The first thing is all of our pre-sale tokens that we've sold, including the team tokens and also the advisor tokens that we have, everything is going into our daily ROI DApp, or our ARK Vault, it's called. And what that really is, it works like a certificate of deposit, where once you make that deposit, your tokens are locked inside of it, and then you have to earn those out slowly at a daily ROI percentage. And that daily ROI percentage based on your behaviors and how you act, whether that's in a positive manner for the platform or in a negative manner. So that daily ROI percentage is variable everywhere, up to 2% per day, which is a very high payout. But back to the fairness, all of the tokens, not just after our launch happens, but any tokens that you purchase in the near future, once we launch, those also get deposited into that ARK Vault and then have to get earned out. So there's no tokens out in the wild that people can trade with or speculate with, or wait for positive price action and then dump on the community. And what we try to create here is a very even playing field where there's a passive income opportunity, and that's the main utility for the token. There's, it's not a speculative trade or, something that you would be able to arbitrage. And in fact, you can only buy the token on our native DEX. So there won't be, any of these bot traders or people out there that are speculating with the coin that can create big wild swings in the price chart. So we try to really smooth all of that out. There's some other mechanics that we also have in place to regulate the buy and sell pressure. We've seen in other projects, and you're familiar with Drip, Mist, where there's not that many tokens in circulating supply. So as large teams come in and there's a lot of buying pressure, the price can really take off. You can see huge multiples, and that can be good and bad. One thing that does is it creates FOMO, which is good, but at the same time, it also limits a lot of other people from getting in the project. So what we've done is we've taken a lot of that volatility out of the price chart by forcing people to withdraw and sell at least a certain level along the way. In some of the other protocols, they promote compounding all the way to a max wallet. We actually have a much more balanced approach to that so that people aren't racing to the finish, actually doing a more balanced approach where they're compounding and then withdrawing along the way, which really smooths out the price chart. And it also helps the liquidity to stabilize. So just with those mechanisms in place where we're forcing any and all purchases of ARK to be deposited into ARK vault and then earned out slowly over time, and then having people compound and withdraw in a balanced manner, it really takes a lot of the pressure off the price chart and also the liquidity pools to support the growth, and then also the exit liquidity for people that are selling. And it's not a negative thing to sell in this protocol. It's actually a positive thing, because we know that the more people that ROI sooner, the more positive feedback we'll get in the community, the better off investors will feel. And right now, ROIing on an investment in this environment, I think is a huge win. So we're promoting that behavior. And even with a small investment, the way that the protocol works is that you can compound that small investment into a very large one over a long period of time. So, most of our time horizons in this protocol are going to be, 3 to 5 years. And that's even if you're getting referral rewards and adding to your account balances. We're looking at a much longer time horizon. Some of the other projects that we've seen kind of, be shooting stars for a short period of time, but then slowly burn out. So yeah, that's just a few things, and we can get into those more if you have any questions about that, Mist.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, can you guys still hear me? I was I could hear you guys fine, but I don't know, for some reason I can't send messages on my Telegram at the moment, but I think my voice is still okay.
I can hear you fine. Yes.
Okay, good. So, all right. Well, yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. I like that you guys have not, that you've protected the investors essentially, and protected those who might be getting in later than other people who might have gotten right at the start, and they've bought these NFTs and things, and they got early into a pre-sale, and to know that people that get in later on can't just be dumped on, or there's not going to be this launch sort of dump that often happens in projects, and then sometimes they don't recover fully, or they people have to be watching and buy the dip, right? And that can be pretty harmful, I think, sometimes. So I'm interested to hear some more. I think you did explain it, but maybe some more about why you think it's not going to happen like that. Obviously, you said a lot of the times will be locked up and not able to be sold. I think you said like sort of a certificate of deposit system. So we're going to find out some more about that. But I think before we do dive in completely, I wanted to understand a little bit more about your team as well, and who's behind it. So obviously we've got you two guys here, Atlas and Brett. How big is your team? Do you guys have more people working for you, or with you, I should say? Who is the core team, and how long have you guys been developing this?
All right, I'll go ahead and take that. It is myself, Brett Norden. Then on the contract side of Solidity, we have Mr. Green, which is an absolute, maverick when it comes to Solidity. The man is brilliant and has a great reputation for a lot of contracts he's done for great projects. Is somebody that I could tell you I've seen take a contract of 900 lines, look at it really quickly and say, okay, that's how they do it. Okay. And then he'll turn around in 2 minutes and do the same thing in 76 lines of code that you could actually read and understand, which is something I haven't seen before. So really, grateful to have him here. Before we found this team, Mist, we went through 2 different sets of development teams. And, the same usual that happens here quite a lot: overpromise, underdeliver, try to charge you a fortune. And it was at the time, very frustrating for me to not be able to find the right team. But looking back in hindsight, I actually see that as a blessing, because we were able to see what these other projects were doing and what was successful, what wasn't. And we really built a superstar team. So that's Mr. Green. He's out of Switzerland, and very, very impressive. Like I said, the quality of his code. He's not one of these people that would ever copy and paste anything. He looks down on that, because he believes that all code should really be built from scratch, and in a way that people can actually understand it. It's not this like hidden black box that you see everywhere. So very proud of his work and what he's done here. We're almost done with CERDIC. We've also hired Driven to do a second set of audits on our contracts. Safety is a very important thing, especially when you're understanding that you're having a system that's built from scratch. You want to make sure that that's really, really taken into great consideration. And even with audits from CERDIC, we've seen huge exploits happen. They wash their hands; they're not responsible. So another thing that we're doing, we've hired 3 of the, I would think, most dangerous Solidity hackers on the planet on a separate bounty contract basis to really beat the brakes off the whole system and try to find all the exploits. Because at the end of the day, it is us who are responsible for these contracts and the whole safety of the system. And we don't want to just rely on CERDIC or Driven. We also need, the experts who really have the skills to find those weaknesses. And we've seen it happen over and over again. Then we move forward to Mr. Green's partner, which is Mr. Crypto Jan. He's been, in blockchain since, really 2013 as a layer 1 lead developer for some blockchains, as well as mining of Litecoin, back in the beginning. The gentleman, comes from a fantastic background, first as a hacker, then recruited by the government in Holland, and worked his way up to become the head of IT security for the whole country of Holland. Very impressive gentleman. He did, pretty well for himself through his journey in crypto, got a little burnt out, made a lot of money, went back to the private sector, and started some companies consulting for the government, not working directly for them, as an employee anymore, more of a consultant coming from the private side. And which, by the way, all of our hosting and everything that we're doing here is hosted by him at the same security level that his government contracts, as well hedge funds and banks from Europe. We are furnished that same level of security, and we've already been, attacked. And I can tell you for a fact that the folks who have tried to come and attack us while we were doing our private and public sales, they got punched in the nose, they lost some money, and they definitely ran away crying. So Jan's fantastic, and also a very important element. He has 2 companies with over a total of 35 coders that specialize in creating mobile apps for hedge funds, banks, and the government. And they're the guys that are building our, crossover, bridge mobile application for, the average Joe that doesn't know how to use MetaMask and wants a very simple QR code based, pull out your credit card, automation to come into that. So another superstar. It's an honor to have that gentleman here. They're not here with us today. Right now, they're in the back doing their coding. Then we have Mr. Alex. He's also well known as a very good Web3 front end developer, really tying in the smart contracts to the user interface. Guy's an absolute, very driven person, very organized, and his level of experience really shows. I think a lot of the feedback from the investment community that came and participated with us through the private sale and pre-sale NFTs, everything worked perfect, seamless, no bugs in the user interface. And he's done a fantastic job for us. And then last, we have Gordy, who is a designer and brand expert. He was the summa cum laude of his class over in the UK. He's actually from Holland as well as Alex and Jan. And, top of his class when it comes to branding and design. So that really encompasses the core team.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, I suppose how many members is that in total as your core? Is that maybe 5 or 6, was it, in total?
Hold on a second.
Trying
I'm waiting for you. Gordy. Yeah, we're looking at 6. Correct.
Okay, awesome. Well, there's certainly some impressive sounding people in there. I was kind of shocked when I heard, one of the guys. I think you said Jan is. I was quite impressed and shocked when I heard that one of the team members here. I think it was Jan. You said was the head of IT security for the government of Holland. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. So how did you guys come across and grab this team and sort of bring these people together and interest them in joining you for this journey and this project as well?
Well, it was quite a feat. Like I said, we had to go through a couple of development teams that just wouldn't deliver, and their front end React was absolutely horrible. There was one development team in particular that took 2 weeks to answer me a simple DM. Very frustrating. I was pulling my hair out, but they're knocking on doors, and I've been around the space for some time, have a lot of connections, and really interviewing and trying out different approaches, giving people small tasks to see how well they performed, and being disappointed time and time again until we were able to really find the right crew. Everyone came through a referral. Alex, Gordy had worked with us on a phase 1 we did here on Chronos. So I had worked with him before, guy that would give me 18-hour days, without ever, complaining, excellent quality of work. But we were missing the solidity, we're missing front end and security, which is really so important. And then our aspirations of this fantastic mobile app that's going to really, be a game changer for us. No ROI app out there has really made a mobile app that simplifies this whole process of getting into these systems. And when we put that in the hands of our investors, I think we're going to be able to be very effective to get the Uber driver, the single mother, the nurse, the landscaper. If you come here to our website, you can see that ArkFi is DeFi for truck drivers and gardeners and all these folks that are really looking for an opportunity to get into a high yield program that is easy and simple to use. So it was quite a feat, Miss. But now we've got this team, and the quality of the work really shows. We've proven that here and through our system of the NFTs for the private and the pre-sales, which, by the way, we just closed on Sunday with a raise of $1,229,000, which is quite fantastic in a bear market with a lot of FUD going around. Folks have really taken the time to go through the white paper, come to our podcasts that we do every single day, and ask all the hard questions. And there's a moment, Mystic, where they have this light bulb that goes off, the aha moment. Wait, you're actually encouraging people to claim? Everyone says no, hyper compound, that's best, but it's absolutely not. We'll get a little bit more into that as we get deeper into the conversation. But we've really turned around a lot of the things and then put just spun it on its head. And it takes a little bit for folks to understand how that's actually very healthy for the chart. It takes away a lot of the the growth, and you have these people are hyper compounding that. It's really kicking the can to later, and then that later if you look at some of these charts that have gone before, the later is very scary, because once they've reached their max wallet, they have no other option but to dump on everyone. So, through the throttling system and really encouraging folks to pay themselves is extremely important. I remember in our phase one back in March, April, telling investors, ladies and gentlemen, every night, pay yourselves. But folks somehow let the greed take over. They get the stars in their eyes. They start hyper compounding. And in a lot of these other systems, they actually, discourage people to take their initial profits. And my philosophy is, investing has two really important rules. Never invest what you can't afford to invest. And second, pay yourself. Get those initials back, which is, really important. And we understand that no matter how many times and how many podcasts we do, folks don't listen. So we've built that into the contracts. We're going to get into the CWR, the NDV. It's very different than a lot of the other projects. And we'll talk about that as we progress.
Yeah, awesome, man. I was just writing in our chat a little bit about what you've been saying and stuff as well. Two very important rules that I like that you said. Never invest more than you can afford in anything, whatever investment it is. Always make sure to protect yourself and don't go all in on something, but also pay yourself and take profits, and make sure to look after yourself as well in that respect. So I do respect that and appreciate that as well. And so why don't we find out some more about why you're encouraging these things with ARK and ARK Finance, and sort of the changes that you've made compared to a lot of the other ROI passive income yield generation projects that we've seen out there, such as Drip and Elephant Money, and the recent one was Furio I saw, and there's been so many, right? So I want to find out a little bit about why you've done it different. I know we've already briefly gone over a few things here, but why are you saying, for example, that take some money, sell your tokens when you receive them, make sure to take your profits out, and how is that going to be beneficial for the chart? As you said, that you're encouraging this to sort of release pressure or release steam, I think. So why is that the case? I think I've seen so many different projects in the past where they've said, hold diamond hands and hold to the end, and if sellers are losers, and sort of almost bad mouthing or making people feel bad for taking profits or selling. So I appreciate the difference in approach, and I'd like to know why how you plan to be successful while still promoting the ability or people to take their profits out.
Yeah, I can go ahead and take that, Atlas. I think what you just mentioned there is key, in that taking that profit early, get those wins, and then there's a positive sentiment that grows around that, and the network effect builds. And one of the things that we've seen in the other projects is when you have those consecutive days of red candles, it just never seems to end. It's always a ride up the hill, and it's a big ride down. And once that emotion kicks in and there doesn't seem to be a bottom in sight, it's very hard to attract people to the token, or even hold on to the token. So people get scared, they get emotional, they start to switch up their strategy. Maybe they were just compounding before, and now they're doing nothing but selling. So it's this run on the bank scenario that starts to happen. And so we understand those dynamics, and in these protocols, we believe that there's a sweet spot where it's always attractive to buy and it's always attractive to sell. And I think if we can maintain those levels, it will take a lot of that emotion out. And as long as we're, continuously building, finding new use cases, making smart external investments in things, we can stabilize our liquidity in a way that other projects haven't been able to. So that's the real, the promise behind it, and the psychology and the thinking of it. And what we've done is we've created, I mentioned before, the goalposts. I'll get into that a little bit more so that people can understand that. But we have a limits that we call it the compound withdrawal ratio. So we want people to compound at a certain level, but not exceed a certain level. So we don't want the hyper compounding, because what you're doing is you're really just providing exit liquidity for everybody else in the project, or you're kicking the can down the road. And if you have large teams that come into the project, they're all compounding on the same schedule. At some point, they're all going to start also withdrawing at the same level. And so that's where you get this big run up and this big run down, and you cause a lot of stress on the system. And so we understand that. So we've set in the guidelines to help balance that out. We also don't want people to withdraw, excessively as well. So we have a nice window there that, people can get their initials out. They can make a nice passive steady income by withdrawing at a certain amount, but they can also grow their investment over time by compounding frequently. And then the real added bonus to all of this is the referral reward structure. Much like Drip and some of the other ones, the more people that you're able to directly onboard using your referral wallet, the more rewards that you can earn. And that goes directly into the principal balance of your account. And so as that grows, the daily ROI percentage is applied to that principal balance. And then the rewards that you're receiving every day increase over time. And so it's a really exponential growth in the earning abilities of your account. To offset some of that, we obviously have a tax system that scales as the amount of rewards that you receive scale over time. And also when you do transactions in the system, those taxes help protect the ability for us to be able to pay people that are withdrawing and selling the token. So all of these things coupled together help create a longer runway and a more sustainable system. And it encourages people in the right way to bring in more referrals, to pay themselves early and have a positive sentiment. But then also it prevents all these wild swings in the price charts where we don't have, huge pumps and bad behaviors coming into the system. And then we don't have all of that negative sentiment on the way out. It should be more viewed as a stable passive income play and not a pump and dump type opportunity that we've seen, with some of the other plays. Some of the other just features that we've added, Atlas mentioned this is a 100% ground up build. We didn't fork any other contracts or, use code from other contracts. He mentioned Mr. Green's very meticulous about how he builds his contracts, a much more streamlined, gas-friendly type approach. And we really tried to re-engineer every aspect of the protocol from the ground up and think about things in really the opposite way that most people do. A good example of that is the hyper compounding. We've taken that out. We know that can have, long-term effects on the protocol if everybody's doing the same actions at the same time. We also have we have a couple different mechanisms for the referral rewards that I'll just mention shortly. The foundation contract acts a little bit like the Drip reservoir or the fur pool contract, if you're familiar with Furio. But that's really our backstop. That's our liquidity pool where we encourage people to stake BUSD. Basically, it's converted into an ARK BUSD pair, and then it's held in a liquidity pool. And that's our backstop. And it provides a liquidity for buying and selling on our system. That's a variable yield tax revenue based rewards pool. So you'll get a variable yield by staking into that foundation contract. In addition to that, though, you can also earn your referral rewards. And so there's an incentive for people to stake in that foundation. And once they hold a certain level of bond, is what we call our liquidity pool pair, then they'll qualify for at least their first level of referral rewards. And then we have another protocol, which is called the Legacy NFT, which is our ownership protocol. That one also qualifies people for various levels of referral rewards as well. And it has a lot of other utilities, such as a DAO component. It also has the ability to increase the flexibility in your CWR. So how much you're compounding withdrawing, it provides some flexibility in that for more advanced users. So NFTs are really for team builders, people that are coming in that understand the power of a referral network. And maybe they're influencers, maybe they're just good team builders, maybe they're people that are out hustling to bring people into the protocol. They're making a larger investment in the protocol, so we allow them some more flexibility. But also what they're doing is they're making an investment into ArkFi itself. And so when I say it's like an ownership protocol, people that are part of the legacy NFT pool, they also have voting power in our DAO. So whenever adjustments are presented or made to the our roadmap, for example, ecosystem expansion, new product development, that group is the first to know about them, and then also gets a vote or a say in what we do from an investment standpoint and a new product development and ecosystem expansion standpoint. So they're really the core members of that decision-making process, and they benefit from that in that there's also a rewards pool for the legacy NFT holders. They get paid back an ROI for making a purchase of that legacy NFT. They get a BUSD reward paid back to them on a daily basis that's paid through the protocol fees and also external investments that we're planning on making that will support the overall ecosystem. So these external investments will provide revenue back for our liquidity pool, and then they'll also feed the legacy NFT rewards pool so that they get back a larger return on their investment. So yeah, there's some interesting game theory going on here. There's enough mix of different ways to play the game where we think it's got a really great opportunity for a lot of different investors at different levels. You can certainly come in and just, if you don't have a large investment or ability to make a large investment, you'll still be able to net the same number of ARK tokens in every wallet as a larger investor that comes in. So there's really an equal playing field here. And if people do come in and make a larger investment or become part of the legacy NFT protocol, those people are really helping the overall ecosystem grow and thrive. And it's really the tides rising all ships. So so for even the smaller players, there's no issue with them coming in with a smaller bag and being able to still have a huge opportunity.
Wow. Well, that's something you don't often hear. So you're actually saying that the difference between a larger investor and a smaller investor over time will not matter as much, or somebody that just invests a smaller amount at the start compared to somebody who invests a much larger amount won't necessarily end up with a huge amount more a year down the road or
Correct.
something like that. Is that what you're saying here by that?
Yeah, absolutely. Every wallet has the same opportunity to net the same number of ARK tokens. So we have a max payout of 80,000 ARK tokens per wallet. The only difference would be that if you came in with a larger deposit up front, you'd be able to get to that 80,000 tokens a little faster than somebody that came in with less. But we do have a limit on the number of tokens that you can deposit, and that's 4,000 is the max deposit level. And that way, again, we're trying to level the playing field. You can't come in with a huge bag and kind of leap in front of everyone else. So the 4,000 limit really keeps that spirit of a leveling field and prevents, people from coming in and doing certain manipulations that we've seen in other protocols where they kind of they can group money together or make a very, very large deposit and get to that max payout level really quickly. And all they're looking to do is, make a quick multiple or drain the system that way. So we've taken that out of the equation, and there's several other parameters that also the dumping of the token. We have a dump tax. So if you do move ARK from a wallet to another wallet, you try to circumvent a sell cap or something like that, and you're just holding ARK in a wallet that has nothing to do with an ARK Vault account, it's not attached to an ARK Vault account, there is a 63% sell tax. So if you did try to accumulate a bunch of ARK tokens into a wallet and then later sell them, you may be subject to that dump tax. We also have a sell cap of 200 ARK tokens per day. And that's to limit, if somebody's really getting larger payouts from their ARK Vault account, or if they're stacking those ARK in their wallet, they can't sell them all at once. And so that's another mechanism to really smooth out the chart and not give an advantage to somebody that's further along in the wallet life cycle than, say, someone that's just starting out.
Okay, I see. I think it's a project that, as an investor, I mean, you should do this anyway as an investor with every project, but you really have to understand what you're buying and what you're getting into. It's not going to be something that people should be looking at as getting this really quick, 10x or 20x or something, and then sell and then leave the project, and that's the end. Instead, it's aiming for sustainable passive income, daily sustainable passive income over time, right? So yeah, well, I think the question I had is, how will you balance people that maybe don't, that just ape into it and buy it and don't understand that, and then they're like, oh, what's happened? I've bought this, and I get this, there's like a sell tax, or I can't I can't sell my tokens or something like that, right? Perhaps there could be some FUD from people complaining that their tokens are not fully accessible, or they're locked up or something like that. What do you think about that, and how would you navigate that?
Yeah, like you said, do your own research. Never make an investment that you don't fully understand, especially with they're very, I would say, complex. Not like just a normal token that you just buy and hold in a wallet and then sell later. So yeah, really, really understand. And on our UI, it's pretty clear when we have when our contracts go live for the ARK Vault. When you purchase the token, it's going to be directly deposited into the vault. So, we're already pretty active in our Telegram group, relaying this type of message so that people don't think I'm just buying ARK and I'm holding ARK. There's no such thing. So they can only deposit it, or purchase and deposit it directly into the ARK Vault, and it's done automatically. So they really don't have a choice. So yeah, if anybody's going to try to ape in and learn that lesson the hard way, they should probably read at least a little bit of the white paper, and also pay attention on the UI, and ask some questions in the Telegram group before going out and thinking they're buying hundreds of ARK to later sell at a profit somehow. It's just not possible.
Okay, got it. Well, I'm just gonna quickly. I know you guys have gone over it, but for everybody that just might not have understood, or may have missed the overview of some of the components here that has been spoken about by the team. So, guys, we've got the ARK Vault, right? This is sort of I believe, the core essentially, and this is up to a 2% daily ROI. In ARK tokens, right? So your ARK tokens get deposited there, and you can gain up to a 2% daily ROI on that. Besides that, they've got the ARK Foundation, which is going to be the stable coin liquidity pool, which provides backing to the project as well. Through this, you can stake a bond. So it looks like it's an ARK and BUSD pair. And this will give you a variable yield, so not a stable yield, but it can change. It's dependent, and it says you can unlock syndicate reward levels. So I think that's perhaps the more you stake into there, the higher returns you would get. Maybe you guys can expand on that if that's right. And then the third thing is that they also have these NFTs that have been created, right? So these will also unlock these syndicate reward levels, raise your compounding limits so that you can compound more, or get a higher return over time, I think, and earn more exclusive rewards. So maybe you guys can expand a little bit on what this syndicate reward level means, and about the ARK Foundation in particular. What makes the variable in the return over time?
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about that. So the referral reward levels, there's two different types of referral rewards. There is direct referrals. When someone makes a deposit and they're using your referral link to make that purchase and deposit of ARK tokens into the ARK Vault, 5% of that deposit value goes upline to you. If you refer them, you're going to get 5% of all their deposits. That's in perpetuity. So as long as they're making deposits, and we encourage people to make the fresh capital deposits along the way. It's a way to maintain your 2% daily. And then also they can do redeposits as well. So if they're earning ARK out of their ARK vault based on that 2% level, they can then take that ARK and then deposit it back in to help grow their account faster. So that's the first level of referral rewards. Those are direct referrals. And then we also have something called compound rewards. So anytime someone compounds, 5% of that compound moves upline, and it's paid on a round robin system, which is a little bit difficult to explain on a voice chat. But basically what it does is every compound moves up one level, and that 5% gets paid to the upline over 15 compounds, and then it returns back down to the bottom. So it's a real decentralized way of distributing those compound rewards. In order to qualify for those compound rewards, you either need to have a certain level of bond staked in the foundation or hold a certain level of legacy NFT. So that's back to the qualifying of your position in your wallet in the system to get or capture as much of those rewards as possible. So people with large teams, bigger downlines are going to be more interested probably in the legacy NFTs because those qualify you for larger or more levels of rewards. The bond on the foundation side, the liquidity pool, that staking is acts like a savings account. It has a variable yield to it. You can also qualify for reward levels. But to me, it's more of a stepping stone for somebody to build up their bond LP account and their staked value, and then go ahead and buy a legacy NFT. So it's a way for someone to get started, dip their toe in the water, get some referrals, start to build their account up, and then go ahead and make that purchase to the next level of the legacy NFT. I'm not sure if that perfectly answers your question, but that's at least an overview.
Yeah, I think it explained it well. I mean, with these sort of projects, especially for people who aren't familiar with them, it can be hard for people to wrap their heads around. But I would encourage everybody that is listening and is trying to work it out and stuff. Make sure to look at the white paper as well, right? There's a lot of great information on there, and try to look into it yourself and try to understand exactly how it works. I think it will be of great benefit to you. To learn about all these types of projects and how they actually work, because there's been a lot of them that have come out, and some of them have performed very, very well. And personally, I think this one sounds quite strong. So yeah.
Yeah. One more comment about the white paper and just maybe a good starting point for everyone. We had an advisor of ours, Dr. Kelly Snook. I don't know if you know who she is from the Drip community. But she helped us with our calculator. So we have a calculator. You can run different scenarios and kind of see how the variable daily ROI works, different upfront investments that you can make, different strategies. And then this is a best practices document that she put together. And I think is a good starting point for everybody to kind of read through, understand the mindset that we have going into this, how we develop this. And then there's different strategies or approaches based on where you are and what your investment goals might be and what you want from a passive income standpoint. So it might just be you want to, pay an electric bill or make your car payment every month. And some other people might want to use it to retire. And then, what monthly income expectation would you have in order to reach that goal? And then start to, calculate into that using the calculator of, how many ARK you would want to deposit up front, how many wallets you might have in the system. Do you have a referral reward strategy where you could do some team building and maybe bring some other people into the investment? What would that look like? And so it really maps out, what your strategy would be going into this, how often you should compound, how often you should withdraw, and give you an idea about what your investment expectations might be and set a plan up front, rather than just kind of going into it and, aping in or, maybe putting a small amount in and trying to learn about the system. That best practices document in the calculator will save you a lot of time. And then it'll educate you at a level where you can then go feel comfortable asking the questions in the Telegram group, get involved with some other community members and find out what they're doing, what their strategy is. And then, ask any further questions you might have, before you start making, an investment in the protocol. That would be my recommendation.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. So it's something that's pretty interesting to me, anyways. And so speaking about some of the stuff that you've said about the NFTs and everything, it sounds like those have already sold out. So for people that might be interested in getting involved and purchasing, some tokens or getting into the project now, is there any opportunity coming up, or will they just have to wait for the launch now in order to get in, say, early?
Yeah, we're only about a week away from launch now. As you mentioned, the pre-sale, we had an NFT, which not to be confused with the legacy NFTs. Those are different investments, but the pre-sale NFT was just a placeholder for the ARK tokens that then you're going to will be automatically deposited into your ARK Vault account at the time of launch. That time is over now. So now we're just waiting for public launch, and that's going to happen on the 15th. So I would say, get involved in our Telegram, start going through the white paper, understanding the best practices in the calculator, and then getting some dry powder on the sideline if you're interested in making an investment. And then you can do that and go ahead and make that first investment into the ARK Vault and start earning your 2% daily on the 15th. So that's the next opportunity to make that investment and really get going. And I think once people are in the protocol, it's going to be fairly simple. We've really tried to make the UI intuitive and give people a pretty simple way of getting involved in the project, even at a low level, and then learning and building as they go. So there's a lot of opportunities for reinvesting some of the capital that you're earning back out into those other protocols we mentioned, the bond LP, which is the foundation contract, and then also the legacy NFTs. So as you kind of learn and grow with the system, I think your investment will also grow, and then your understanding of those different applications and how they can benefit you in the overall ecosystem will become more apparent and clear as you go.
Okay, and sort of the key to accessing everything and to executing all the functions that you need to, such as withdrawing or depositing, withdrawing tokens or claiming tokens, let's say, and depositing tokens or compounding, and all of this will all be available on the dApp that it looks like is already more or less created, just needs to go live. Is that right? So everything will be done through that.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll have a dashboard. Actually, if you go to the website homepage, there's a kind of a glimpse of what the basic dashboard will look like for your ARK Vault. So we've kind of, on the right there in the header, you can kind of see the layout of, how you can make your compounds and your withdrawals. And we have the CWR, which I mentioned, the compound withdrawal ratio, and the other critical metric is the net deposit value. But those are very clear indicators, and you can tell how your investment's tracking. And then from that dashboard, you'll be able to see pretty much all of the critical parameters and things that we've been talking about, so that it won't be difficult. We also have, critical alerts and pop-ups if you're going to exceed values and things. So we really thought through what the investor experience is going to look like, and we try to incorporate all those things so that people don't get caught off guard. I know it's a little bit scary. There's a lot of variables to think about. But really, if you're just taking the basic actions every day, you won't run into any trouble, and you're kind of following that balanced approach that we talked about. There's no reason to be concerned, one way or the other. I think it's the people that are always trying to, push the edge or, circumvent certain things to try to game the system. Those are the people that are going to get frustrated, because there's nowhere that they can really to do that. There's no manipulations. We've thought through a lot of these things. These are all chess moves, not checker moves, I like to say. We've thought through all the different ways that certain people have tried to manipulate and control other systems, and we've taken a lot of those out of the equations.
Right. And I suppose one of the hang on, I think somebody else is speaking here. So one of the things that you mentioned here is, well, about security, right? Or about you've looked over everything and tried to make things as good as possible. And you guys actually have I think he's the ex head IT of Holland for the government, working with you guys to secure that. And I know you're also getting a CertiK audit underway. So it sounds like, as far as that, you've certainly put in a lot of attention to detail when it comes to security and making sure that there are no flaws or hacks, as we've seen in a lot of other ROI or yield generation protocol sort of things. I mean, I know there was one with Elephant Money, for example, and certainly other ones as well. So that's pretty cool to hear. How far underway is the CertiK audit? When do you expect to receive that as well?
The CertiK is, I believe, around 96% completed. And we're I think maybe around 90% with the second auditing firm, Driven, that we've hired, as we wanted to have 2 sets of audits. So that's just about really done. So pretty excited about that. And we're in the phase where we're having the bounty program for the Solidity, hackers to come in and do their ugly work for us. So looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate and like the amount of attention you're giving to it. Not only are you getting a CertiK audit, but you're getting another audit with a reputable company. You have on your team somebody that's clearly very experienced in security and IT, and if they were working as the head of security in technology security for Holland, that's pretty impressive. And then also you're doing this bounty program, right, where you're trying to essentially hire the best people to try and break the system and figure out where any flaws are in order to fix them before you even launch it or before you even start it, right? So that's really something that speaks a lot to me, and I think is very impressive, and showing a lot of care to make sure that people who do invest will not get hacked or scammed in any way through lack of structural integrity in the code, if that makes sense, right? So that's pretty cool. I just wanted to say.
Thank you, Miss. It's important to us. We're doxed, and we're guys from the real world that are very proud of the work that we're doing here. And at the same time, we're taking a huge responsibility on board. These are, investor funds. We have to protect them at all costs. Safety is really number one priority, as well as just having a very level playing field for all investors to get a win here on a long-term basis. Folks know, where I live. I have a guest here from another great project who's an advisor, Mr. Air Fryer. A lot of people, know him. He's been here visiting me in my home. I've had many investors, a couple who are here listening, been to my home and visit me. So I understand that when something goes wrong, you can't blame CertiK or you can't blame, anyone else but yourself. It is your responsibility as a project lead and developer to ensure that safety. It is imperative that everyone that's invested here is able to sleep well at night, including myself. I want to be very comfortable in what we're doing here and understand the vulnerabilities, understand that there are, some, evil, people out there that target projects, whether it is, on a competition level or, a hacking level, unethically. There's a lot of money that we understand is going to be coming through ARK. And for some of these people, that could be, their retirement, that could be, replacing their current income if they lose their job or adding to their current income. So this is serious business and it has to be treated that way.
Absolutely. And that's pretty cool that you've actually met some of your investors and some people supporting you in the project as well. And so you guys are doxed. Does that mean you've completed a KYC? Like, do you go on video chats or anything like that as well with the
I have
the community?
Yeah, we absolutely have. And like I said, we're very proud of the work that we're doing here. We're not going to provide our IDs and social security numbers and so forth. There's a certain level, I believe, of privacy with your personal data. But everyone here is absolutely somebody that has been in the space and able to really show who they are.
Definitely. Well, that's good to hear also for any investor security. So if anybody's worried as far as hacks and things go, well, anything can happen, but it looks like these guys are really looking out for to prevent any malpractice or misbehavior as far as that goes. So that's great to hear. Looks like they're doxed. I believe they've. Have you guys completed a KYC with a third party as well, or just done public doxing?
Public doxing, and like I said, a lot of people, know who I am. I've been around. Brett's, showing his real name, and Jan as well. We have a profile page where we're going to put a lot of our information here on the website. We had an artist that's doing a portrait of each of us. That's why it's taken a bit long to put our profiles and who we are. And we'll probably be looking, I don't know if maybe with CertIC we'll do a KYC or, deposit our documentation there. So there's several options. But for me, it's already something that's already been there. I've already been on camera. And like I said, a lot of folks know who I am and where I live. So it's a big responsibility, having these funds and also our reputations. There is no second chances. There are no excuses. Either you do it the right way, or in my opinion, you just don't do it at all.
That's a great attitude to have. So, so as we've spoken about, a lot of these, you were offering NFTs, and essentially what those NFTs were, it was like a pre-sale, right? So I think you've had 3 different pre-sales, and those NFTs are placeholders for actual tokens, right? So if you bought the NFTs, you'll get tokens automatically deposited into the vault, I believe it is, and that will start to give you ROI, right?
That is correct. And something kind of neat of our private round, as we had folks that had come in and pretty much wanted to participate in that private. We gave them the option to sign up and give them a minimum of 250 BUSD to a max of 1,000 BUSD. And actually, Jan built a really, really cool generator. As I think most of you know, when you go to purchase NFTs, let's say like that have art, all the elements are already predefined and set into the collection, and you just get that random result that's coming through, your minting process, right? What we did here, since there was a variable, actually 2 to be exact, the variable of you having the opportunity to decide when it was time to make your mint, whether it was 250 or 500, 600, up to 1,000. He was able to, create a generator that would actually put in the image of that private round your contribution amount, as well as the referral if you use one. So that's something very innovative that we haven't seen done before. So every minted NFT was absolutely unique and independent, and literally made instantly by reading the blockchain transaction, which was just mind-blowing what this man did for us. So, pretty neat. The public sales didn't have that feature because those were already preset prices.
Yeah, that is pretty cool stuff. So, okay, so you've already sold out. I think you've raised 1.2 million. So now people that are in here listening, what is their next chance to get involved? I guess it's going, as you said, it's on the launch. And regarding that, people that would be interested in investing on the launch, how is that recommended, or what is the strategy for that? Do they have to go directly to the website and go to the app, and then I guess they connect their wallet and purchase through there? I think you said something about if you're purchased without being connected in some way to ArkFi, there's going to be a penalty for that if you try to sell your tokens, for example. So how would people get involved at this point?
Okay, great question, Mist. And the way it works, you're not going to be able to go and purchase or sell directly in PancakeSwap. You have to go through our swap contract. That really is, a whole system that's doing the liquidity control that we were talking about to maintain that, price stability. It is not an exact peg. It is a dynamic range. We do not want the price to appreciate way too much, because that puts a lot of unnecessary pressure into the whole system and the chart and the price and the payouts. So, we're going to manage that according to the volume and investor sentiment to be able to really provide a steady, stable rate of return. If you go too high, that also equates into a lot of downwards pressure as folks are following their ratio and their CWR and NDV. So you'll come to the D app, you will connect your wallet, and you will provide your BUSD if you're buying the ArkFi token, and that will be credited and deposited for you in your Ark Vault account, through your wallet. So that's really the way that you would go about that. You could also go ahead and you can do that, starting pretty much on December 9th. You can start purchasing your legacy NFTs for your reward levels, as well as Bond LP, which will also activate your reward levels. So that's one thing that you can go ahead and do if you don't have ARK token and you weren't in the pre-sales. You can set yourself up already, but come launch, you'll be able to come and participate with us. And the idea here is that everybody gets a fair chance. For the team, advisors, anyone from the private and public sale. I've learned in this business that you can't trust anyone. That goes into the whole theory here of no open tokens. We are all getting on the same, boat, as they say, hence the name ARK. The team here understands that they have a lot of skin in the game, that the way that we're able to really, have success and thrive and grow is through the success of the whole ecosystem, the platform. And we are following the same rules, the same ability to claim and compound as everyone else. So we have to work really for our returns and make sure that we provide a lot of innovation and stability for our investors as well. So we welcome all of you to come and join us starting December 15th. And, understand that every precaution's really been taken. You're not, going to see, anyone coming and being able to purchase and dump on us, or anyone that got into pre-sales, because there's always that little 1% group. And I know you know what I'm talking about, Miss, and everybody here that always gets in, and they always, get the private whitelist, and then, they get their X's, whatever they may be, and they fill their pockets. They use everyone else as exit liquidity, and that's just not possible here. Everyone's playing the same game. So quite fantastic. We're really proud about that mechanism, being able to sleep at night, understanding that everyone has really a even playing field and a possibility to get that win, a very, very fast return on investment. That's going to bring a lot of investor confidence. And I think that's when people are going to start to really have those conversations with their neighbors at barbecues, coworkers. Maybe they're just in an Uber and, it's a 30-minute drive. They start talking to the Uber driver. Hey, I'm in this investment. I already got my return. There's a lot more confidence when folks understand that, they're profitable. So we're looking forward to that. And we're looking to make sure that anyone that has any questions, come and join us every evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. UTC. We have a podcast. On average, it's about 2.5 hours. Last night, we were there for 4 hours. And that's every single day. We understand there's a lot of growth that's happening here, a lot of questions, as we need to be able to simplify it for folks. And myself, I'm always there. I believe that if you have a business, you need to tend to it. I like when I'm at a restaurant, for example, and the owner comes to the table. Sir, how was the service? How was the food? And generally, you'll find that the people that put that attention to detail and really communicate with their customers, generally they provide fantastic service because they're on top of it. So really important for us to have that communication every single evening, because the work here, requires just full time. Crypto doesn't sleep 24 hours, 7 days a week. In our phase one, we did 67 podcasts in 69 days. There was 2 days that I couldn't actually make it. But those are proof of the work ethic, the culture that we have here, poised for growth, and really making sure that everyone's able to do their due diligence, ask all the questions they need before they make such an important decision, as it is a long-term investment.
Yeah. Well, there's a few people here that are saying, oh, they're sad that they didn't get in on the private sale or get in on a pre-sale and stuff like that. So, well, there is going to be a chance, guys, for you to still get in, pretty much on the ground floor. And a point that the team has made here is that in the end, they're trying to make it so that it doesn't matter if you have a large investment at the start or a smaller investment at the start. In the end, it should end up somewhere around the same place over time, right? It's just the larger investment, people would get to that max claim, of tokens faster, is the difference here. So as these guys have said, they're trying to build something where they all come together in the ARK and go on the same boat together and all rise up, together, not some people winning and other people losing, right?
That's a great point, Mist, because our philosophy is if you do the same thing, which we see a lot of projects and even tokens and meme projects, it's always good for the first people, and it's really bad for the folks that come last. And in this type of project, understanding it's a passive income play with a steady, stable rate of return that needs to be sustainable. If 6 months down the line, a year down the line, 2 years down the line, somebody hears about this, over in Thailand or in Argentina, some emerging country where they're having, serious inflation problems, and they understand that they have the same opportunity as those people that are really here listening today, or they're going to participate on December 15th. We've made sure to have that price stability really baked in so that folks are not looking at that huge pump and then, the dump that comes after with all the variables that have, really been engineered for that sustainability. And when you look at this chart, you're going to see that stable dynamic, not pegged, but a stable dynamic price range that is there to just ensure that we all have the same opportunity and that we're all playing the same game, and that, the whales or the little guys that come a year from now, they say, oh, wow, okay, this is a fantastic investment. This is a great opportunity. And that's where I think we're going to excel, providing that even playing field that doesn't really matter when you come in. So have patience, and I'm glad you picked up on that, Mist.
Absolutely. Well, we've had a few questions here that have come through from the community that I'm just going to ask as I was scrolling through that I wanted to get on as well. So somebody's asked, you guys have raised, sounds like $1.2 million in pre-sale funds. So they're wondering what's going to be the starting market cap for the project. I guess that they're thinking, as you would think, if it starts a really high market cap, the potential for multiples or X's, as people say, is less, right? So maybe you can tell us about the starting market cap and what people can expect for that.
Well, we haven't released yet the price that we're going to launch at, and we're also being very careful, Mist, of giving out what our range is going to be, as we don't want folks to try to time the market and the price and try to take advantage of that. We want it to really appear as organic as possible. We have in mind what our launch price is going to be, and we will announce it before launch. At the same time, we're going to be very, very, let's say, private as to what the range is going to be to not enable folks to game that. Once we reach it, I think everybody will know. They'll understand this is the range that ArkFi, token price is going to, sit at. So we don't want to speculate, and we don't want to give too much information about that. However, we've done a really good raise, and we're looking at really 83% of that going into the whole system. And so we're going to divide that up and publish that for everyone to see, I think a couple of days before launch. So all that information will be public.
Did you say 83% of it going into the system or something like that?
That is correct. 17% is to the marketing, and you can find that in our tokenomics.
Okay, well, that was my next question as well, was with the funds you've raised, $1.2 million, how is that going to be split up, or how is that going to be utilized? How is it going to be used? So as I understand it, if you just answer the question, it's 83% of it will be going into the ecosystem, probably much of it for like liquidity, and then 17% will be for marketing use. Maybe you can expand a bit more on how you're planning to use the funds.
I'll let Brett go ahead and take that.
No, I think did you answer that already? I think the 83% was going into liquidity, and then the 17% went to marketing. And we have a direct marketing approach, so it's more community-based marketing. And what we're doing is right now we're running contests for both Medium article writing and also YouTube creation by people in the community. So we have two different contests going. Both contests have 1,900 BUSD up for grabs. And what we're doing is we're trying to encourage people to become content creators on these other platforms. Medium is a big Google search engine traffic grabber. So basically, if you're writing articles and someone's out there doing a Google search related to DeFi yield projects or crypto passive income, for example, they can find ArkFi in an article that was written by somebody in the community, and then they'll have the referral link there, and then they're when it comes over and makes an investment, then they're getting credit for those referral rewards through that referral link that they left in the article. So it's a real reciprocal way to not only help out community members build their teams, but then also get the word out about ArkFi. And so we found that those type of direct marketing and content creation are by far the best social proof and also the best marketing tools that you can have for this type of protocol. And because it's it's an education-based process, it's not necessarily a meme coin or something like that. The traditional PooCoin ads and display advertising and things like that through traditional crypto channels, it just doesn't work. It's very difficult. So we found that getting our investment community to provide their stories and their experience, and when we have people ROIing, telling about their stories, maybe they're paying some bills with ArkFi and the investment that they made, those stories are far more impactful, and it can really attract a different type of crowd over to your project. The other kind of traditional media we found isn't effective, and we've seen many projects blow through large marketing budgets, paying professional ad agencies and stuff to distribute ads out, but those convert that well. So we prefer to have our community members out educating, building teams, telling their stories, and then that starts the top of the funnel. Once they come to our Telegram group, we have educators there. We have people that are paid full time on our admin channel. And we have a couple gentlemen that have really excelled in our phase 1 project, out educating people how to set up MetaMask, how to get set up on crypto.com and Coinbase and that. And then, fostering those people all the way through the process of getting to purchase their first cryptocurrency, setting it to the MetaMask wallet, setting up Mask, connecting that to a D app. And so we have some very skilled and experienced people that can help anyone through the process. So when people are sending referrals over to our main Telegram channel, those people won't be poached. We have a very strict policy about that. We don't let our admins try to steal referrals from people, or other people in the community steal referrals. It's known as a very neutral ground and a safe place that people can come ask questions and then get the help they need if they don't necessarily understand how to interact with the D app or how to purchase crypto. All those questions can get answered. So that's the type of policy and community and culture that we're really building, not only in our Telegram group, but then in our community as well.
Absolutely.
And so,
Go ahead, Nick.
oh, I was just going to say, I think a key, obviously a core component of the project itself, guys, is that if you are interested in getting into it and purchasing some or investing, the idea here is that as you talk about your returns or if you're doing well with the project and everything's going well, you then share your referral links and say, hey, look, guys, your friends or whoever, you guys can buy, just use my referral link, and then you get rewarded as well. And it sort of works to spread the word out, and then they start sharing their referral links, and it's this sort of word of mouth or grassroots community marketing that can be very effective and sort of infectious and can snowball into something huge in the right cases and if it's done well. I think that's the idea behind it.
Yes, absolutely, Mist. And another part of that marketing budget is really to create a lot of educational material, especially for those folks that have never been in DeFi or used MetaMask. What is DeFi? Taking the middleman out of finance. What is MetaMask? How to protect your keys. A lot of modules for education. Really starting from the top down, from very simple to very complex. As we understand that our main focus here is going to cross that bridge over to the real world folks that are looking for passive income. So that's also something that we're very excited about. A lot of production is ahead of us, and we're really hiring the best of the best folks to come in and create those education modules. A lot of expansion there. There's also something I wanted to add that really fits our profile here about financial freedom and passive income. We just announced yesterday a partnership with Ultimo, which is a fantastic new project that is going to be doing the fiat onboarding, so that when you bring a friend and they want to go ahead and purchase and they don't have crypto, they'll be able to use their debit or credit card and really come in and purchase ARK through their platform as a third-party provider. And also something really interesting that's already functioning and working. We have advisors here and other investors involved in ARK. They've been able to sign up with Ultimo and receive a debit card with an offshore bank that has a great reputation, been around for, I believe, since 1987. And you're able to receive this card and use it to make your purchases on a daily basis without any limits, as well as go to an ATM and with a minimal KYC, not having to give too much of your details, social security numbers for those in America and so forth. You're able to really collect your winnings and your profits here and rewards and bring them into your real life to put food on the table. So something very exciting there. If anybody has questions, we'd be happy to answer that. But it just plays into the whole culture here of having that financial freedom for you to make those decisions, especially when you look at some of these, centralized exchanges and the issues that, we've all been hearing about in the news. A lot of folks are afraid, worried. I've personally had bank accounts in the United States closed, 5-6 years ago because of, purchasing crypto. And it's funny to see those same banks, 3-4 years later advertising, hey, you can use our credit cards, debit cards to go buy crypto. But there still is that stigma that happens, especially when you're starting to really have great earnings like you can have here on a multi-year basis, giving the investor the opportunity to really collect the rewards and turn them into cash that they could live off of. So, that enables an investor to really manage that how they wish. If they want to, be, let's say, more in control. And, when it comes to their tax structure, we always advise every investor to follow the regulations according to their, country where they live and their tax, let's say their tax responsibilities. That's very encourageable. But at the same time, we believe that that's a personal decision that folks have to make. And having Ultimo on board is just a great way to, onboard into ARK as well as offboard. And they're pretty much shipping, to every country in the world. I know that China has a lot of stringent controls. They want ARK in their life and for their family and friends. And having, this fantastic, debit card, they're able to, in a sense, protect themselves and be a bit under the radar and be able to access their funds in a great fashion. With that, there's something else that we didn't talk about, which I think is quite exciting. Every 24 hours in our nightly podcast, we are giving away a, opportunity for any investor that has either a legacy NFT for the reward system or a bond LP, the lowest level of $250, where they can really, just get their first direct deposit rewards. If any investor in our system has either of those two, they qualify for what we call the Spark reward system. And that is 50% of what the Guardian wallet is, receiving from compounds on a 24-hour basis. And we're very excited about that, Miss, because, anyone really can come ahead and join. So we're going to be doing that live drawing. It's directly done on the contract with our own random system generator that's checking which wallets actually qualify of the investors, and the deposits go directly into your ARK Vault account, which is nice to see. I think we're going to be getting a lot of testimonies, maybe a single mother struggling to pay some bills, and she looks at her account. She says, oh, wow, I just won Spark. That's fantastic. So a lot of testimonials will be coming our way. And we think it's a system that I think is very fair and interesting, because you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to play a lottery game, that leads to gambling addictions. So you don't have to, further invest to be able to win that. It's just an automatic opportunity. And hopefully, that's going to be very sizable, and some lives could really be improved and changed.
Okay. So that's something that's coming from the Guardian wallet, you said. And is that funded by taxes, and you mentioned this Spark, right? So is that all funded by taxes?
It's actually compound through the round robin system. Are you familiar with round robins? I mean, we do it a bit different here, because some folks we've seen have learned to game that system in the traditional sense of, we've re-engineered the whole round robin system. And if there's levels that don't qualify in your upline, we make sure that the Guardian wallet is picking up those compounds. So it really makes it fair and evens everything out. So through that raise, we're giving every 24 hours 50% of everything that was accumulated through the compound, through the round robin from the Guardian wallet. We're giving that away to the community.
Okay, I think I understand. Okay, that's cool. So, all right. So another question that somebody in our community actually asked that I'll ask as well is, they've asked, how are you going to continue to pay the mods and admins? Does it come from the taxes?
Yes, sir. We have a 1.5% tax that is going to cover all of the expenses, including our coaches, our admins, and just the day-to-day, running of the actual project. So all expenses are really run through there. Then we have another 1.5% tax, and that's actually going to the legacy NFT holders, to that pool. Those are folks that are making an investment and partnership into ARK. They will also be participating in our DAO and our external investment revenue streams that we're going to be presenting for vote pretty soon for those investors.
Okay, got it. Now, let's sort of go over. I don't know if we fully touched on it, but the taxes involved. So say somebody deposits some money into ARK, and they have some tokens sitting there, and they're claiming ROIs over time. Every day, right? They can claim some tokens out of there. And then they're actually, from what I understand, they're recommended to sell them immediately. Don't accumulate your tokens, rather get those tokens, claim them, and sell them into the system again. Now, when we talk about selling those tokens into the system or claiming your tokens that you've deposited, right, your daily ROI, is there taxes involved in that? When you sell your tokens, what is the tax going to be on that? If you claim tokens, is there a tax that's taken when you claim?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's a 10% starting tax for withdrawals, compounds, and airdrops as well, if you're doing airdrops to your team of tokens. So those are the base level taxes. And then we mentioned the tax scaling. So as your total rewards that get paid out over time increase, then the tax level scales up. So the idea of actually withdrawing and selling early is beneficial to the investor as well as the protocol. Because if you wait too long, you start to get into those high level tax tiers, and it'll really impact the number of tokens that you start to net if you try to compound and wait too long to withdraw and sell. Then you'll have you'll have a higher tax level that you're selling or withdrawing under. I'm sorry. So yeah, the tax system is scaled to help with the sustainability of the tax vault and maintain a higher level number of ARK tokens in that tax vault. So we always have a healthy balance in there to pay out when people want to withdraw.
Okay, got it. So, yeah, I think I understand. Did you mention you said it's like a variable tax, right? So the more that your token with claims are worth, the higher the tax will go over time. And did you say it's starting at 10%?
Yeah, it starts at 10%, but it's based on the number of tokens that you've been paid out or rewarded. Atlas, if you go to the sustainable taxation, there's a complete let's see, tax scaling tab in the white paper there. There's a table that shows you 2 more pages down on the left. It's called tax scaling, and it shows you the different tiers of taxes based on the number of rewards that you've been paid out. There it is right there. Yep, so we have multiple tax levels. And then the center column is the number of ARK tokens that you've been rewarded over time. So it scales upward, and that's to, as I mentioned, keep the tax vault that is used to pay out rewards when people withdraw, is to keep that in a healthy balance.
Okay, got it. Wow, there's really been a lot of thought and coding and sort of development behind it to put all of these different structures into place and different different things regarding variable tax levels and basically everything that's been built here with the DApp and all that. So that's pretty interesting to see, I think. All right, well, I think that we can start to try to wrap things up here, guys. I'd recommend that everybody who's interested in getting involved with ARK Finance to join their Telegram group. You can find it in our pinned messages, and just join the community, get involved over there, and pay attention to what's going on. That's where all their updates are going to be. That's where you'll find any changes or any events that might be happening, or maybe they'll do some. It sounds like they're doing like sort of daily giveaways in their if you're involved with the project in their AMAs. They do a podcast, I think, daily over there. So there's a lot of good information to be had. So I'd recommend getting involved with the Telegram group, and then obviously you'll get the chance to invest on. I think they said there's a way with legacy NFTs starting December 9th, and then you can alternatively wait until the launch on December 15th to start investing directly. Now, what I'd like to ask, I guess, is that for those that are still trying to get their head wrapped around everything and might not be as inclined into the strategy side of things and how to best play it, what do you recommend for somebody just basically who just wants that passive return and to make some money over time and be able to pay some bills and such? How should they first get started? Say the token launches, what do you recommend for them to do simply in order to just get invested and get involved and start gaining some returns and hopefully change their life?
Yeah, I would say the best place to start would be to go ahead and join our Telegram group, and then head on over to the white paper. You'll be able to get access to a lot of the questions that you might have just at a surface level. Right there in the TG group, we have a whole bunch of commands set up that refer you to different sections of the white paper or frequently asked questions, for example. And then go through that best practices page, which was that last one that we talked about that Dr. Kelly Snook put together, and then work on the calculator so you understand the mechanics and how the whole investment will work. Then I think you'd have a pretty baseline to go ahead and make at least an initial deposit on December 15th, coming up here in about 8 days. And then from there, you can play, as you feel comfortable and start making some profits. You can start scaling up your investment, get more involved in the community, maybe do some team building yourself. So there's really a lot of different ways you can go with it. But I think what you'll find is that the community is very open and accepting to new investors, people that aren't familiar with these daily ROI dApps. And we have a lot of resources, not just in the people in the community, but also through the white paper, the calculator, and that best practices document to really get started and feel confident in what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I found the best practices document was very interesting and valuable to read for people as well. Um, okay, well, besides that, I think mostly we've covered everything, guys. There's going to be security audits that are coming out for the project. The team has doxed themselves. Sometimes they go on video chat. They have daily podcasts in their community over in their Telegram group. They've already raised quite a bit of pre-sale funding, which most of it's going to the liquidity pool in order to sustain and stabilize the project, right? The other part is going to marketing. Sorry, I cut off there. I think we've covered a lot of aspects here. Maybe one thing that you could mention, I think you did briefly touch on, but you're going for a community marketing sort of approach and sort of a spreading word of mouth. But besides that, is there any real avenues that you're planning to spend money on when it comes to marketing and that you really would like to focus on?
Absolutely. The next big push. So we have the community-based marketing. We know that is a very tried and true practice that's been successful for many investors as well as other ROI dApps. So that's our bread and butter. In addition to that, with the release of our web that Atlas had mentioned, the real promise of our brand, which is DeFi Simplified, it's really going into the mass market, and we're going to be building content, video, landing pages that all investors can use to then go out into the real world and help convert and onboard people that are non-crypto users today. And with that, the education-based overlay that Atlas mentioned, helping people to understand what is DeFi, what are smart contracts. And a big connection that we have in the real world is with network marketing companies. I have several connections in that space, as well as consultants that work with startup network marketing companies. And really our referral structure lends itself to the understanding that a business can be built around this. And people that are in that space, they're looking for this type of new project that they haven't seen before. There's not a lot of crypto that's out in the net marketing space. Some people might call them multi-level marketing companies, things like that. But these people have huge teams, hundreds, thousands of people. And we know some influencers in that space. We have connections that can lead us into that market and build the right tools for them. So that next big marketing push is going to be building those tools, both the website and the videos and things to introduce the investment opportunity, but then also the education piece on the back end of that. So those people are going to be less sophisticated, but we know that they're looking for a way to take their fiat, off of their bank accounts. They're all suffering from inflation now, and they're looking for a place to, have a stable income and a way to, get their banking situation in order, because we know inflation and other things are taking hold. So we think that mass market push is going to be the place to put our next capital and our marketing dollars to work.
Awesome, man. That sounds pretty great. Now, I think my last question is just something that I saw here is that it looks like Elon Musk has tweeted about you. Well, maybe not directly, but he's mentioned the ARK, and that's pretty good timing for your launch is coming up here. And he made this tweet. I put it in our chat here about an ARK, right? So I was just wondering, how did you manage to get him to tweet about you guys?
We actually didn't, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening here. Really, ARK is a phase of something that I've been personally working on, which is a blockchain that's completely run on renewable energy. And probably one of our first investments will be to tap into over in Canada using natural gas at a cost of around 1 cent per kilowatt hour to do some mining. So we want to mine other blockchains as well as eventually roll out our own very complex system. It's going to take maybe about 1.5 years to really be out there, and ideally we'll be hooking up with Starlink to be able to do validation and crypto mining out in the Sahara Desert, the Himalayan mountains. So bright future. It's a coincidence, but for us, not really. I've been working on this for quite some time, so it was just reassuring to see the ARK we've had a lot of conversations of what an ARK would actually be in today's world. So really funny that he did that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like a sign or something from the heavens. I don't know. But no, that's pretty cool. I know that it wasn't, you guys didn't actually sit down with Elon and say, hey, can you make a tweet about us or something like that? That'd be pretty cool if you did. But yeah, that's cool stuff. Now I know maybe briefly we can talk about this as well. You mentioned that you've told to me you're creating a blockchain as well. Is that directly involved with ARK, or is this something else that's being built on the side? Will they link up in any way?
Ideally, yes. We would like to link up. There's a lot of work that has to happen really for our off grid, because it's fully off grid. As we understand that regulation is really coming into the markets. I think you can all remember when Elon Musk came out and said that Bitcoin was dirty because of the grid dependency to energy, which is kind of ironic and hypocritical in my opinion, because his cars also plug into the grid. But he stopped taking payments over at Tesla with Bitcoin, and there was a lot of FUD. I remember that day. I personally lost around 86.3 Bitcoin on a trade. So we understand that in China they kicked all of the Bitcoin miners out because they were bringing a tremendous amount of strain onto their grid system. And renewables, there's a lot of sources. You can go through solar. I spent over a decade in developing renewable energy projects. There's a lot of opportunity tapping into natural gas. That we understand that if we build this system, this blockchain, completely off grid, and like I said, hook it up to Starlink in the future, we're going to probably be the darlings of the crypto world, because regulators are definitely looking for the whole quote unquote green crypto. There's a couple of people talking about that, which is kind of ridiculous, as nobody's really gone out there and do that. So once that's done, we would like to migrate over and have ARK be the first DApp into that system. But this is a long-term rollout. I've been working on it for quite some time, and really the reason I came to do ARK was understanding all the contracts and everything that we have to set up and all the VCs, that I wanted to have a sustainable income for the team. And in a sense, ARK has really been my way of putting this team through the paces, to put them through the test of fire, to figure out who really will qualify to come into that bigger ambitious goal and journey.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you guys certainly have a lot planned, and you've been working on things for quite a while. And I don't think I actually asked, but I'm just curious. And sorry, I hope I don't take up too much time either. I know it's been a long AMA. I'm just quite interested in it, really, and I've been enjoying it quite a lot, and really like chatting with you guys. So I hope you don't mind. But I had a question about the how long you've actually been building ARK itself, and when did you start development of that? Because I don't think I asked that, and I'd be interested.
It was in February this year. That's when we set out to do this. Root Kane from Root Kane's Lounge, I don't know if you know him, he came to me. He's like, man, I missed out on drip. I had a couple other people approach me. One really, really good, friend who still to today, Mr. Z, he's the most, I think, educated DeFi expert I've ever met. I used to go a lot to his podcast, and he's actually doing, a segment of our podcast here at ARK. And he missed out. He was friends with actually Forex. They were before crypto, they were both in this thing called, I think, the 6-hour work week, which was, kind of self-development as entrepreneurs. And Forex invited him over. Hey, why don't you get into my project? And Z bought, drip and, got a 10X and sold it. He didn't know the whole layers of the reward system. I mean, he was sitting in a DeFi group on Discord with, I believe at the time, over 1,600 very educated investors who were making a ton of money, and realized that he missed out on potentially millions of dollars if he would have organized himself and, and his whole community as a team and gotten into drip and played the game on a long-term basis, which showed me, education is so vital. Being able to really sit down and explain to folks, how these systems can really be powerful if you organize yourself and you invest for the long term, not the trading part of it. That's why we took the trading part out of it. We're not letting folks come to PancakeSwap and just play that game. This is a protocol for everyone to invest long term, and anyone that doesn't want to buy into that, they don't have to. They can go buy some meme token. This is very different. So look, it's something that took some time to really find that right team. We did a phase 1 on Chronos. We decided to come to BSC. There's a lot of great security things. For example, for myself, having multisig from Gnosis is really, really important. A feature that you don't have on Chronos, and kind of the way that everything's played out with FTX. Crypto.com's also taking a lot of heat, a lot of concern. So we're glad we came over here. We think it was the right decision to go ahead and launch here. And as far as the blockchain, that's something I've been working on for you're going really into about a year and a half back. So a lot of work being done on that, and there's a lot of IP data and stuff that we can't share at this point, but we're really proud with the way that's going.
Absolutely. Well, anyways, guys, I think it's. I'd like to say thank you for coming and sharing everything with us. I found it very interesting and enjoyable here to learn about it. And something that you mentioned is how people were upset about not being able to get into drip or getting in late or selling it and missing out on a lot of stuff, and potentially missing out on millions of dollars or something like that. So. Do you think that there's potential for people to get into ARK, and be able to make millions out of it? I mean, that's a really big thing to say, right? Do you think that can be doable here with somebody, just starting off with a reasonable investment in it from the start?
Well, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. However, I do encourage folks to head on over and see Dr. Kelly Snook's calculator that is available to any investor. It's important that people take the time and they make their own due diligence, financial decisions. The numbers speak for themselves. There are no guarantees in crypto. It is absolutely something that has a risk. I mean, we've mitigated the risk, and we've been very clear that this is not a get rich overnight situation. This is a investment time. So, if you spend some time, come to the calculator, this is a view only. So you would actually have to come and save it, onto your desktop or laptop, and then, sit here. There's also a video that she made for us in one of the podcasts where she actually walks you through the process. And there's multi-wallet strategies, there's single player. It's very robust, and I think that everyone should really take the time and let the numbers speak to you, and there you'll be able to make your best financial decision.
Awesome. All right, great. Thanks so much. Okay, guys. Well, we'll wrap things up here. I think this is certainly a project personally I'm going to be looking at and following for sure. I hope that you guys enjoyed the AMA and that you had a nice time here with everybody, and we're able to learn about ARK Finance and what's involved and what they're building, and sort of the comparisons between it and other projects that have done well in the past, that I've also followed and invested in as well. So this is something I'm personally very interested in. So if you guys are too, I'd recommend getting involved with the Telegram group. Again, you can find that in our pinned messages. And from there, you'll be able to find any future updates, and you'll be ready for when it launches, and you'll be able to see what happens there with that. And besides that, I'd just like to say thanks to the team for coming by and joining us. Really appreciate the time you've spent, and that I know it's been a bit of a longer AMA, so I appreciate the extra time you've given us here. Thank you for stopping by and sharing everything.
Well, thank you, Miss, for the opportunity. Fantastic community you have here. We love to be able to talk about ARK, especially with folks that have a lot of experience in DeFi and have been through some hard times lately. We believe our proposition through these difficult times is exactly what a lot of us need to really do and understand that we need to measure ourselves. We have to look in the mirror and understand that, those days are not here of the easy money. And we're glad that folks are taking interest or understanding that they have to look out for their family, for their financial goals, for their future. Some folks are joining that are going into retirement. Their 401ks are just beat up, and they're looking for some hope. And we believe through the hard work we've done here, taking the time, that we have a fantastic proposition to get us through, the winter, and also the financial storm that's really brewing with inflation and all. So that's really it for me. I thank you for the opportunity. I'll let Brett Norden give his closing statements.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss, for having us. A huge community here, and looking forward to seeing some of those faces over in our main Telegram and asking questions and getting engaged. I would encourage anybody to come over, even if they're a little bit interested, just to learn about, the daily ROI DApp space if you're not familiar, and get accustomed to these products. They've created a lot of wealthy individuals in the space and have been very successful for a lot of people in DeFi. And we think there's some superstars brewing already in our group. So it'll be great to see if we can spawn some new, really successful investors with ARK, and I think we can. So yeah, with that being said, I just appreciate the opportunity to talk with everybody today. Hope it wasn't too long and complicated. I know it can be tough to kind of sift through all of this data, but just be rest assured that there's people there to walk you through the process if you are interested in learning more. The website, the white paper, the calculator, those are all great starting points. And yeah, come in, feel free to ask questions and really dig into these things, because I think they're going to be around for a while. And I think that as DeFi matures and we can make it simpler for people, we're just going to get more and more people access and the opportunity that we mentioned for people internationally that may not have, the means and the chance to invest in crypto today. Their day's coming. And with mobile application technology, putting this on everyone's phone, we could really reach a broader, bigger audience with DeFi, which needs to happen. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. And thank you guys again for coming in. And you sort of made me think of one last quick question is regarding the DApp and the app and everything. I guess that'll all be mobile friendly on the website, through your mobile, but will it also be going on like a Play Store or anything like that, or on an app store?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, ultimately it will. Our first version of it will be a web application, so it'll be mobile friendly, and it will be a simplified version of what you're seeing on the desktop on your mobile phone. And so we're going to do as many seamless integrations as we possibly can, to help with wallet X and all of those kind of things, different button layouts and things to help simplify the process flow. So not as much going on. But then the next phase will be an Android compatible, iOS compatible version of the app, but that takes some time, 6 to 9 months for development approval through their entire system. So our short-term plan, in order to be able to get movement in the mass market, is going to be with a web app, and shortly after that, we'll have a full-blown Android iOS application.
Awesome. That sounds great. Okay, guys. Well, yeah, thanks again very much. So we're just going to get to, we'll pretty much close things up here. I'll stop the recording. Just like to say thanks again for joining us, of course. And yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty cool, pretty promising, and I'll definitely be following this one and looking into it some more. Obviously, I've done a lot of research myself already, but something that I'm going to be definitely following. So anyways, stopping the recording here.